Top five, top five, top five.
So then topical back with another video. I'm Strange Wang. He is Nate. Today we're doing top 5 British directors, and out of our guy Ritchie and his newest film, Army movie with Jake Gyllenhaal.
If you don't know how our top 5 works, he's going to start with his 5 and 4. I'll give my 5 and 4. 3-2, 3-2. Then we trade off number ones. We also have something called the Zemeckis rule, which just means if we both had the same movie on our list, but one person has it 2 spots or higher, we just talk about it once.
Number 5 for me is going to be Danny Boyle. Dude has fucking range.
Yeah, it's my number 4.
Really nice. And like, I love directors who stay in their lane. We're going to talk about one, probably, at least I'm definitely going to talk about one very soon. But I also really love directors who can do different things.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, to me, that's really impressive. Because you can be a master at one thing, or you can just be hella good at many different things. Trainspotting.
Yeah.
Damn good movie. Slumdog Millionaire. Award season ate that shit up.
It's true.
Dude just has all of these movies that people love and gravitate to.
Mm-hmm. He's adapting The Matrix into a musical stage performance.
What your ass say?
Interesting. And my favorite Danny Boyle film, I must say, is Yesterday. That's my favorite, least favorite movie.
Because, I was about to say, you kind of were mean to that movie.
Bro, I love that movie so much, but there's like 2 or 3 things in it that I just fucking hate.
Like Kate McKinnon.
Yes, like her whole character.
He hates Kate McKinnon.
No, just in that movie. Throw her in the fucking trash can. The attitude, the swagger of... That's a fucking SNL skit. They should have left on the fucking Saturday Night Live set.
It was a little...
Not brought into that movie.
It was a little too much. Just a little. Though.
Over fucking acting. It's not like in Logan Lucky, where you have, like, the female cop. She's like a fucking hard ass.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a comedy. You have all these weird, outrageous characters.
The whole movie is over the top.
Yeah. Our most level-headed people are our 3 protagonists, which is the sister, brother, the 2 brothers and the sister. Right. And even them, they're not that fucking... They're weird people.
You don't consider Daniel Craig one of the protagonists?
No, he's like a side character. He's a gimmick of the movie.
Sure.
You watch the trailer and you're like, I'm going to see 007 act like a fucking hick. But we're not talking about that. I'll also, like, Ed Sheeran, you were really good in that first scene of that movie.
Yeah.
And then you went, shit, hey dude, I got you, hey dude, hankin'.
Ew.
Yeah, the whole like songwriting competition thing with him and Ed Sheeran in that movie, you could have cut pretty much that whole thing for me.
I kind of like that because it gives you another song.
Yeah.
It's a clever way to put another song out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it just shows, like, those classics never die.
Yeah.
You know, like, the Beatles are still so good.
Yeah.
But we're not reviewing Yesterday, even though he made it. There you go. Shout out to him. What you got to say about him?
Danny Boyle, yeah. I love Trainspotting. It is an incredible movie. It would definitely make, like, at the very least, probably a top 75 for me. And honestly, that movie alone, like Slumdog Millionaire is good. It's a good movie. I'm not a huge fan of it, but like you still can't deny it. Its props. It made a huge freaking splash. Everyone's talking about that movie. Like, it won Best Picture. The guy deserves his credit. And also, he is adapting The Matrix into a stage musical, and I think that just takes a massive set of balls to try to do something like that. So,
Not it does.
yeah, like the confidence,
That's so weird.
The confidence you have to have in your own creativity to do that it's a lot, and he's got it apparently. So, I like it.
I got a question.
What would be weirder? That or the Joker 2?
I don't know. The Joker 2 is probably going to be pretty weird. So
It's like 2 acid trips with musical numbers.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe equally weird.
But next, we have number 4. That'd be a good list. Movies that shouldn't be musicals. Like
Apocalypse Now.
Like Lolita. Like,
Right.
this is like the most worst movies.
Yeah, Jack and Jill.
Yeah. God.
I don't know. It might be better as a musical.
Just don't. Never mind. Ugh. Number 4 for me is the reason why we're doing this list. Guy Ritchie. I recently watched a bunch of Guy Ritchie movies because Operation Fortune came out. I was like, man, that was really good. It came out this year, a couple months ago. And then I saw The Man from U.N.C.L.E. And I was like, oh, Guy Ritchie made this. Let me watch it. And I was in a hotel room. I watched it. And again, it was really good. I was like, that Superman actor ain't half bad, So I watched another one of his films. I don't remember which one it was, but...
Have you seen Aladdin?
No.
I have. That's one of the 2 Guy Ritchie movies I've seen. I didn't know how few Guy Ritchie movies I had seen until today.
I'm surprised because Lock, Stock, Two Loaded Barrels...
Never seen it.
Considered a modern classic to an extent. Snatch, modern classic to an extent. Mm-hmm. Sherlock Holmes 1 and 2. I figured you would have saw those.
Well, I have seen those.
So you've seen 3 Guy Ritchie movies.
Yeah, I guess it's technically 3.
Liar! Liar!
Guy Ritchie just, his crime, how he puts his British spin on crime movies is so different, so fresh and fascinating to a American who knows nothing about British or crime, really, because I'm a good boy.
Yeah, right. We've been doing, how long have we been doing this? 5 years?
Yeah, 4 or 5.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a long time. I've never felt like a complete and total poser as far as film goes until today, when I realized that the only 2 Guy Ritchie movies I've seen were his ones that were based on other intellectual properties. I've literally seen Aladdin and Sherlock.
You're talking about that's why you felt like a film poster?
Poster?
Poser?
I don't think I've ever felt like a film poster.
He thought he was American.
I didn't say I thought he was American.
Oh, him and Christopher Nolan? They're British?
Well, what does knowing a director's nationality have to do with knowing film?
I don't know. I just felt like that was common sense. And you like behind the scenes shit. You're always talking about, I saw this behind the scenes thing on Twitter.
I don't care where people are from. Just make good shit. I didn't necessarily think it was American. I never really thought about Alfred Hitchcock being from anywhere. He just made really good movies.
He just appeared one day.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if anyone just appeared one day, it would be Alfred Hitchcock or Marlon Brando.
Andy Kaufman, I would throw him in there. Joaquin Phoenix. Ari Aster. Never mind. We're getting on a fucking tangent here.
Next top 5 movie people who probably just came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Mother Mary had many sons.
Yeah.
But Guy Ritchie, his crime movies are they can be serious at times and you believe them, and they can go in the comedy heavy and you believe them as well. Spy stuff he does is fucking hilarious. Dude is just a really talented director at what he does. I haven't seen Aladdin. That's getting out of his realm a little bit, I would assume. But for what Guy Ritchie does on a regular basis, he fucking kills it. And probably the best working, minus Scorsese, when it comes to crime directors, he's probably the second best crime director working today.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I mean, I know you're going to throw in Michael Mann, but he don't make that many movies anymore.
Well, that was my thing. Because obviously the first 2 I thought of were Michael Mann and Scorsese. Scorsese has a movie coming out this year that was supposed to come out 3 years ago now. So.
But that's my number 4.
Yeah, I dig it. So my number 5, I didn't really want to put him this low, but when I thought about how I really feel about all of his movies and how many movies he's made compared to others, I decided to go and put him at 5. So my number 5 is going to be Edgar Wright.
Zemeckis.
I had a feeling it would be.
This is our favorite British directors, not the top 5 British directors. So
yeah, well, definitely.
That will be a Zemeckis for me. I just want to clarify, because I don't think we said in the beginning of the video like we usually do.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the same 5 people watch all of these top 5, so...
Probably so.
Yeah. They probably get it.
His number 4 was
and
Danny
my number
Boyle.
4 was DB.
So my number 3 is going to be Christopher Nolan.
That's my number 2.
I feel like a lot of his movies, he's a very talented dude. He thinks outside the box. Personally, for me, I think his movies are on the borderline pretentious, and I don't like his audience. Because they're like, oh, you didn't like Inception? Inception's so cool and original. And I personally think that movie's overrated. It's a good movie. It's got a great cast.
So long.
But just how long people talked about it and everything, it just wasn't intriguing by the time I finally got around to seeing it. Interstellar, same way. That movie probably a little bit better because the fan base isn't as super like critical about it or like shoving it down your throat. But Tenet, The Dark Knight, dude has made fucking really good classic movies. And like Tenet's not considered a classic, but I think one day it will be.
Yeah,
I love that movie. It's so smart.
Yeah,
the Batman franchise obviously put him on the map and got him to be a household name. Dunkirk. But every time, another one of my favorites. And that is range too, you know, you got those early crime movies, you got the superhero movies, but still kind of leaning to the crime element, war movies. Oppenheimer, that's just a straight drama, it feels like.
Right.
So, dude's got range, he's a very talented director. He is one of the few directors today that when he drops a trailer or you hear a Nolan movie coming out, people come out the woodwork and they're like, you're a movie guy. What do you think about this? Mm-hmm. And I love that because that's probably how it was. I'm assuming that's how it was like in the 90s because Seinfeld, they did a lot of episodes about movies.
Yeah.
So that was just like a really popular thing to do back then. And like I feel like when Nolan does that, it's like people know they're watching something special.
Yeah. I feel like, I don't know if you remember this conversation. We had a conversation, it's probably a couple of years ago, where we're talking about how, like, there's, like, this... You go through this period of time where it feels like people are going to see a movie because of who is in it. And then, lately, over the last, maybe decade, it's felt more like you go to see a movie because of who directed it. And I don't know if that's because we have just gotten deeper into, like, the film world, and you're going to find a lot more people that care probably more about directors than actors and actresses in that area, or if that's a cycle, because I feel like it's shifting back now. Or actually, I feel like it's honestly just shifting to like, people don't care who directed it or who's in it, like how flashy and entertaining is it, or how many people are on Twitter are talking about it, which makes me sad. But anyways, I don't think Nolan will ever lose that draw. Like he is forever probably going to be in the like, not, you know, he's got a ways to go before, like, I mean, the total package, but in terms of like, if he drops a movie, are people going to see it? He's approaching that like Spielberg level or that Scorsese level, or, you know, like any of those big name directors where it's like, you just want to go see a movie because they dropped it, you know? I agree with you about Inception. It is a little overrated, but that the other part is still true. It was very original and like incredibly interesting and technical and had big names in it. And it's like, you can enjoy that movie if you have zero depth as a person and you really don't have any clue what on earth the plot of that movie is at all, other than something about going into dreams. There's enough like fun action, like character relation stuff to entertain you. And then if you are a person who likes to be challenged, he gives you movies to dissect and try to figure out, like, how does this work? And Tenet is just like, dude, how did you even, like, I understand that you're a director and therefore you get to take a lot of time off in between projects to work on your next one. So the answer to my question is that. But it's like, who has the time and attention span to, like, learn all this shit about, like, time theory and quantum theory and all this stuff for you to just create this whole freaking idea into a movie where, like, it doesn't even really need to be fully explained. You did enough to where we can accept it. And that takes a lot of talent.
Imagine those fucking storyboards for that movie.
Yeah, it probably looks like that freaking Charlie Day meme with, like, the freaking shit everywhere.
Explaining people,
like,
this is the movie I'm
If you combine the Charlie Day meme with the, like, staring off into space with the math equations meme, that is probably what writing Tenet was like. So, I like Interstellar. I think Interstellar is great. And also, people still talk about, like, I still freaking see people talk about the ending to Inception. It's like, okay, first of all, if that was the first time you'd ever seen an ambiguous ending to a movie, I get it. Those stick with you. But there's no way you haven't seen plenty of other ones that were just as good, if not better, than that ending by now. Whereas Interstellar is like, most of the time when I see people on Twitter talking about it, it's people like asking astrophysicists how accurate this was, and them being like, that's actually pretty accurate. We have no clue what the inside of a black hole looks like, but he probably got it pretty dang close. So I appreciate that Interstellar at least spurred some like educational and interesting conversation, other than just talking about the same thing about the movie that everyone has been talking about for like 13, 14 years now since Inception came out, which, ouch, that hurts.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nolan's great.
Here at Sound Topical, we're unfortunately poor, and this money you see on screen, that's CGI. That's not real money, because again, we're poor. So if you want to click in the ad eye in the corner, that video is monetized, and we can make money off it, so please go watch it.
And if you click an ad, we make more money. And if you really want to help, there's the thanks button right there below this video.
Number 2 for me is going to be the Zemeckis from earlier, Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright just makes fun, easy, watchable films. And not to say that they're like dumbed down, because they're all really smart.
Yeah.
But he loves movies, and it shows in his films, and that just makes the movie so much fun. And most of them aren't really that serious. And even the one that I'm thinking about that is kind of is most serious is still rewatchable because it is fun. Last Night in Soho is what I'm talking about. And for a horror movie, it's a really fun horror movie. And then you got the range because, boom, you got the horror comedy. You got the cop drama comedy. You got the buddy cop drama. You got Baby Driver, which is a heist film, which is also different from every other one of his movies.
Yeah.
It is so fun and original. And then Scott Pilgrim is just in a lane all of its own, because it's kind of like a superhero movie, but not really. And it has that video game route, but stylized kind of like a video game.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's a non-superhero comic book movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Dude just makes fun, rewatchable movies that are quality.
Yeah.
I can watch a really bad movie from the 80s and really enjoy it and rewatch it a bunch, but it doesn't have the quality of an Edgar Wright movie. So with his love of cinema and putting the time into his craft, it just makes his movies so consistent across the board. Like, is this movie fun? 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. It doesn't have good writing. 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Like, he's just so consistent across the board with every detail, every aspect of film. So that's why he's one of my favorite directors working today. And my second favorite British director.
Well spoken, sir.
Obviously, with thought, you probably could, but off the rip, can you think of another director where every movie they've made is rewatchable?
Tarantino.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Not for me, but I feel like some people will say James Cameron too.
Maybe. I think Tarantino is not true for a lot of people. Like, Hateful Eight is like a tough, like, rewatch get through for a lot of people, you know?
True.
Yeah.
Jonah Hill.
You're going to rewatch Stutz over and over and over again?
I don't really count that.
Out of his 2 movies?
Yeah, I mean, their directors are very rewatchable films.
Because even all the big guys, they still have like
Wes Anderson.
They're really, really serious projects.
I don't really want to watch Bottle Rocket over and over.
I don't really want to watch Rushmore over and over.
The last one he did, I don't see myself watching that a bunch. So yeah, that might be the guy.
Yeah. Most rewatchable director.
Because the only one I'm thinking of is
Because I was even trying to go back to like Shane Black.
Yeah.
Or something maybe. Like an action guy that just knocked out. Even if they weren't great, they still have that like campy, fun rewatchableness.
Yeah.
Yeah. My number 3 is Ridley Scott. Mostly out of respect. Like I really love Gladiator. I think Gladiator is a great movie. I always forget whether he added the S to his Alien movie or not.
No, this is Alien. James Cameron is Aliens.
Okay, gotcha.
Because it's bigger.
Right. Yeah, there's more.
Sequel.
Multiple aliens. So, yeah. The guy just pumps out, like, really, really big movies. He's honestly, in some ways, not unlike James Cameron, except he just has made more movies than James Cameron, which I also respect. Because lately, I've been feeling like James Cameron's is getting a little too much respect. Like, his movies are really good, but he's made like 4 of them. And I know it's been a little more than that, but like
7.
Yeah, Ridley Scott. I just feel like I don't need to explain him too much. I feel like he's just kind of like one of those names that's going to be around forever. I don't think his name holds as much as Nolan's does, which like is sad for him because he's been around quite a bit longer. But the dude just makes like these big epic movies that never to me feel like they're drifting into like the specifically made for a mass audience type of feel. And I don't know if that's entirely fair because every movie except like an indie movie is intentionally made to get as many people to see it as possible so it can make money. But there's a difference between like the big blockbusters of like today, like anything Marvel, anything superhero, but even your Top Gun Maverick, which is excellent, and things that are just like made to be consumable. Like his movies are still deep. Some of them are incredibly violent, but they're really engaging and they're really entertaining, and they generally draw an audience. So I gave him my number 3 spot.
Also, you gotta think though, like he's made movies for 2 different audiences.
Yeah.
And I think why Cameron or Nolan gets more respect is because, yes, he has these classics, but in between these classics, he has all the money in the world.
Right. Yeah.
He's kind of like Scorsese, but Scorsese, his movies are just on such a pedestal.
Right.
That doesn't matter if he makes a shitty Cape Fear movie.
Yeah.
Or After Hours.
I was about to bring that. Well, it's not for this show, but I listened to a podcast today where they were talking about Scorsese's Cape Fear, and I just want to vent about it later. But, and then my number 2 was Nolan. So,
all right, number 1, Alfred Hitchcock.
Hey, that's my number 1.
He is top 3 greatest directors of all time.
It's debatable.
He is the master of suspense. He's the master of his lane. No one does thriller better than him. And the only one that comes close is David Fincher.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you look at the amount of work Hitchcock's put out and the amount of work that Fincher's put out and the influence Fincher probably got from Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everyone. I mean, you look at Spielberg. Everyone has learned something from Hitchcock, basically.
Yeah.
His movies are taught in film classes. We did a fucking week on the shower scene.
Mm-hmm.
When I, like, took a film class in college. Like, holy crap. Why? But... a week was unnecessary.
I was thinking of that too. I was like,
class, but a week was unnecessary.
There's definitely a good bit to dissect in the shower scene, but like a week's worth of stuff in the shower
My
scene.
teacher was dick riding.
Yeah, seriously.
Nonetheless,
like
all the credit to Hitchcock.
Yeah,
Dude's made, in my opinion, a perfect movie with Rear Window. Classics out the wazoo. You got Vertigo, Birds, Psycho, North by Northwest, and the class of actors he worked with, incredible as well.
Yeah,
and like you can mold someone to be in your style. Like you look at Rope, like James Stewart was never the same character as he was in a Rope or Vertigo.
Right.
Like this is Mr. America, and then he went over to the dark side and did a couple of Hitchcock flicks.
Right.
4 or 5. Same thing with fucking Cary Grant. Like dude's fucking he's chasing around a fucking leopard dude.
Yeah.
And now he's in this thriller. It's like he just had a way to mold people into his films and make it so believable.
Yeah.
And like talented actors too, but without his direction.
Yeah.
You don't have the full performance.
Right. And not only, like, I feel like things like this were inevitable anyways, but you still always get some points for doing it first, even if it probably would have happened down the road. But even today, we get so excited seeing actors do something out of their lane. You know, anytime, like, a predominantly comedic actor does, like, a legitimately serious role and crushes it, we love that shit. And, like, I feel like Hitchcock was really one of the first people to do that because I was going to make the same point, or it popped in my head right before you said it, at least, about James Stewart. It's like, you took, like, the all shucks, like, you know, America's sweet, like Tom Hanks before Tom Hanks, but even more wholesome and just pure. And you just put him in these like situations where he's either not necessarily a super great person or is like in legitimate danger, or he's just not being like that guy, you know, like he has to go get his hands dirty to figure something out. And I think that takes a lot of talent. It says a lot about the director to give an actor just the confidence to step out of their comfort zone to try that. But yeah, I agree. There's no like Hitchcock has the advantage in like the scope of all film history of kind of being in there early, you know, like the amount of films that he got to make was not only just because of how good he was, but also because there just weren't that many people making movies at the time. So like the directors who were making movies got to make a lot of movies, and actors were popping out like 3 or 4 movies a year. So I would love to get back to a world where that existed. But yeah, Hitchcock, he's incredible. The fact that you made those movies when you made them and people are still trying to be you is incredible. And only a handful have managed to take their own talent and use your influence to do what they do. I think it says a lot. He's incredibly important to film history. He has made some of my favorite movies of all time. In my opinion, he's made 2 perfect movies. And I don't know that there's really a lot of other directors that I can really say that about. So he's pretty great.
And also, like, you look at, like, yeah, he got in there first, but could there be a few things touched up with, like, special effects or, like, stunt doubles or things that came later in the 70s or whenever?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But his simplicity, just that's what makes this movie so interesting.
Yeah.
Like, he knows psychology better than most directors. So to the point where he doesn't need to throw in CGI dinosaurs or monsters or have the world ending. Or, put it in his lane, he doesn't need a rape scene to make you care about a character.
Right.
He doesn't need you to see someone get brutally murdered for you to care about a character.
Mm-hmm.
He just needs to pan to some money on the table, and boom, you're fucking invested.
There you go.
You know, like, the simplicity of his work is the reason why I think I love him so much.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, this might go into what you were saying about he got in there first, but I watch his movies, and someone who, like, has ideas and who wants to make movies in the future, even if there's just, like, my friends, just, like, small,
Yeah.
just for a hobby. I'll watch his movies, like, rewatch them after I know the twists and turns and shit, and it makes me mad because it's so fucking simple but so good. It's like, oh, like, give me some of that talent, boy. Like, oh, it's unfair. It's unfair. He's the Michael Jordan of filmmaking, of thrillers and shit. So he's the best.
Yeah. Thrillers and shit.
You heard it here. Thrillers and shit. But let us know your top 5 British directors down in the comment section below. And hopefully next time Guy Ritchie makes a movie, we can do top 5 Guy Ritchie movies. But until then, like the video, share the video, and subscribe.